Today, Roseanne Barr was defiant, defending what's left of her legacy. "I'm not a racist, I never was, and I never will be," she wrote. "One stupid joke in a lifetime of fighting for civil rights for all minorities against networks, studios, will never be taken from me. Just the latest chapter in a long history of courting controversy."
This wasn't just one tweet for Roseanne. She has a history of tweeting things that are inappropriate.
This time, it was this tweet about Obama aide Valerie Jarrett. "Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby equals VJ. It cost her big time." On Tuesday, our own network, ABC, canceled Roseanne's show, calling her views abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values. The highest-rated new sitcom on television, gone in a flash. So today on The View, Roseanne was a hot topic.
That tweet came from you.
She did that.
So that's yours. You did this to yourself.
What she said was blatantly, patently the definition of racism, very black and white. This is not about being a conservative, okay? This is about you being a racist.
Yeah.
For her part, Roseanne Barr furiously apologized, attacked, and backpedaled.
That ought to do it.
She's fired off more than 200 tweets since losing her show. And despite an apology, she's retweeted images of a character from Planet of the Apes alongside a picture of Valerie Jarrett. After her co-stars Sarah Gilbert and Michael Fishman condemned her remarks as abhorrent, reprehensible, and intolerable, Barr lashed out, accusing them of throwing her under the bus. At one point, she even blamed Ambien for her Valerie Jarrett tweet. The drug company Sanofi, which makes Ambien, shot back, "While all pharmaceutical treatments have side effects, racism is not a known side effect of any Sanofi medication."
She also compared Susan Rice to an ape, and that was in 2013. Roseanne's history with these sort of remarks in regards to African Americans had already been documented, and yet, the network decided to reboot her show anyway.
Well, thank her for her service.
Roseanne's show seemed to fill a void in the country's deep political divide, connecting with Americans from the flyover states and with Trump voters who felt network TV wasn't representing them.
Jackie, would you like to take a knee?
Stan Zimmerman was one of the writers on the original series.
There's something about the characters and the Connors that I just felt comfortable in. I wanted to hear their points of view on different matters. And unfortunately now those voices may be cut off for good.
It was inclusive, topical, and blunt. This episode won praise from the director of the Council on American Islamic Relations for opening a dialogue about Islamophobia.
"I'm Fatima Al-Harazi, and this is my husband, Samir."
Oh, I'm sorry. That was so rude of us. I'm Jackie, Roseanne's sister. I'm a certified life coach if you're having any trouble assimilating.
Not now, Jackie.
More than 27 million people watched the first episode of the reboot.
Damn!
They've lost a powerful voice now.
This show had the struggles of people who live paycheck to paycheck. There aren't many shows like that on TV anymore. And that's what made this special. And now that it's gone, I wonder what shows they're going to turn to.
Viacom, Hulu, and the Laugh Network all announced they're pulling reruns of the original Roseanne show from syndication effective today. Roseanne has been here before.
I'm one of these people that I call them my fans, people who love to hate me.
Her star has risen and fallen before, spectacularly so. In 2011, she sat down with Nightline to talk about that.
Do you feel like you've sold your soul to become famous and that you've paid a price for it?
Yeah, that's the deal that all celebrities make. They decide, well, these are safe topics that I can speak out on.
There's a photo spread of you that maybe pushes the edge a little bit, with a Hitler mustache, baking cookies in the shapes of Jews?
No, people said it was in the shape of Jews, but it was not Jews. It was Palestinians.
Her unflinching humor was the signature of the original Roseanne show back in the 80s and 90s.
Are you ever sorry we got married?
Every second of my life.
At its zenith, a single episode reached 36 million viewers.
Nobody had ever looked like her, had that viewpoint on TV.
First we send in the phone bill and we forget to sign the check.
She had to fight to get that voice on TV in the first place.
She was a bona fide cultural icon.
Becoming a symbol of something is hard.
The original show was also widely known as Hollywood's unhappiest workplace.
Roseanne has been a notorious figure in television for decades now. On the original version of her show, it was a revolving door of writers. People would get fired and hired and fired and rehired. It was a chaotic type of set.
Zimmerman can attest to that.
And they decided that we'd each get a numbered shirt, and this was their joke, that they could fire us by just pointing to a number and never having to learn our name. They thought that was funny.
It all started to unravel the night she sang the Star-Spangled Banner at a San Diego Padres game.
Do you want to see it?
No, I'd rather not.
Oh, all right.
No, go ahead. Now I just laugh at it.
When it was over, she grabbed her crotch, spat on the ground, and walked off.
It was horrifying. I knew I had started too high about the 5th note in. And I thought, well, at least I'll try to make it funny.
I mean, you're smiling through the whole thing.
I felt like crying. Then ABC called me. We don't know if we're going to cancel your show yet. We have to wait and see what happens. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose every single thing that I've ever worked for.
It was disgraceful.
Contrast President George H.W. Bush's response to that scandal to the response today from President Trump. So far, Trump has neither condemned what she said nor come to her defense. What he has done is make it about himself. Quote, Bob Iger of ABC called Valerie Jarrett to let her know ABC does not tolerate comments like those made by Roseanne Barr. Gee, he never called President Donald J. Trump to apologize for the horrible statements made and said about me on ABC. Maybe I just didn't get the call.
No one is defending her comments. They're inappropriate, but that's what the point that he was making.
Today in the briefing room, the White House press secretary insisted the president was calling out ABC for a double standard.
Where was Bob Iger's apology to the White House staff for Jamel Hill calling the president and anyone associated with him a white supremacist? To Christians around the world for Joy Behar calling Christianity a mental illness.
For the record, both Hill and Behar did face repercussions. ESPN suspended Hill for violating the company's social media policy. And Behar called Vice President Pence to apologize and issued an on-air mea culpa.
I sincerely apologize for what I said.
America was divided before Roseanne came on, and America will be divided long after this show's been canceled. This is who we are and what we're about in 2018.